As always, this is your biking podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ghost.
I'm
As you say, ngoja kwanza. Huyu jamaa hapendi na my normal introduction. This is Ghost, the man, the myth, the legend. Today I've even said it slowly so that everyone crams it. The man, the myth, the legend. And I'm with my co-host as always.
Tish, the throttle certified, speed junkie, and the rest. So today we have our guest here. He will introduce himself. Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Benson Moremi. I'm a biker for the last few years. I think we just get to chat more in the course of these podcasts. You get to know much more about my experience and my history with biking. Happy to be here.
Okay, so first things first. Unajua, if you've not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. That guy likes showing people where it is. For me, I'll remind you, even if you're not going to subscribe, please interact with the content both on YouTube, on Instagram. My username is somewhere here. Please follow me first before you follow Tish. But you can decide to. And also, we're going to do our best and put Ben's Instagram handle. Today, some little bit of energy into it. We are going to speak about very simple things, but fast. As always, it's 15 minutes, and I think we've chewed into 3 minutes of his time.
Yeah.
So the first 15 minutes is always the biker story.
Okay. So where did it all begin? It began sometime in 2020, just before COVID. So that time I was still in Rwanda, and I had been admiring to have a motorcycle to just go around. And then that time I wanted something to commute to work. So my initial assumption was that I could get something like a 200 Apache. But then my bank account was not cooperating. So I couldn't afford the bike. So eventually I found this new company, RMC, that just come to Rwanda. And they were selling 125cc bikes, I think also 200 and the 250 bikes. And so I ended up getting myself a 125cc bike from an expert that was leaving the country at a very affordable price. And so I used the bike to move around. And then when COVID was kind of almost ending, and now we could move around freely, I started doing a little bit of trips outside of Kigali. I found myself going to Gisenyi often and coming back. That is like 150 kilometers away. And so I enjoyed that kind of lifestyle so much. And then I was like, I think, upgrade my bike, get a bit more powerful bike. And so by that time now, I sold this 150cc bike, 125cc bike, and got a 200cc Apache RTR. So that bike, honestly, at that time, it felt so powerful. I remember picking it from town and going down to Nyabugogo. And on the first camera, it just caught me because I was not used to that kind of response from the bike. So it was a really nice bike. I did a lot of trips. I think I visited all the major countries in East Africa with that 200cc bike. Very reliable. And the cool thing about it is that you just need fuel, and that's it. It will get you anywhere you want to go. But it's not the most comfortable bike. And during my travel that time is when I realized that the bike is underpowered, especially when I was in Tanzania, where the road is very straight. And then it's like my bike can only just do 90 kilometers per hour. And I had put a very loud exhaust, so it was almost my ears. So yeah, I had so much fun with the bike, but I realized I needed to upgrade to a much more powerful bike so that I can be able to cover those distances a bit more faster. So then did that upgrade to BMW F800 GS. That was like a perfect bike for me. I love that bike so much. Had very memorable events with the bike. Again, doing cross country, trips with the bike. Very, very funny bike, fun bike to have and live with. And especially just its suspension is something else. So it's a bike that does not matter so much about the terrain. So you can take it anywhere and it will just survive. And recently, I think now 4 months in, I did another upgrade to a 1250 BMW.
The German Shepherd, we call them
The ambassador,
the ambassador of the.
the German Shepherd.
The only thing good that is German dog breeds. You know that. So
We'll censor that one.
no.
No, I'm also a fan.
Me, I'm not. Me, I'm not. But yeah, interesting story. For me, what I have appreciated, and before you even continue about your biking story, because that's a good summary of the journey from down there in Nakangwa. Memories all the way to BMW, the big boy club. They like calling themselves big boys, but there's nothing big boy there. But anyway, story for another day. Ben, I think for most people, they always think that bikers are hooligans and all that kind of thing. I think Ben is also one of the many bikers, many bikers, but few esteemed bikers who are proud of what they do. Apart from biking, they are very okay with what they do, what they contribute to society. So Ben, apart from biking, a combination of even biking, what do you do normally, day to day? You know me, I just meet him on the road. He flies fast pace. So Ben,
Yeah, so when I'm not testing the throttle, I work in IT. So I run a company called Health Analytics. It's a data company. We are in Kenya and also in Rwanda. And then we also have a payment platform called Pay that basically remits money from anywhere around the country, anywhere around the world to East African countries. Currently, Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda. So besides that, I also work here in Rwanda. I work at Rirembo, a DevOps engineer. So basically, I'm fighting with servers and applications, and so yes, you have a good uptime when I'm not into biking. But I'm kind of obsessed with bikes, and I think I would want to ride that as long as I can.
That's interesting. I'm looking at it from the point of, and by the way, we are okay with people with small bikes.
Yeah.
I think that's where the journey starts. And I think in a previous podcast, actually, was it Paul?
Yes.
Paul mentioned that people need to be okay with the journey, growing journey. And I think Ben has been like from that journey. Well, he once posted, actually, Ben once posted that he remembers the days he used to park the Apache. Was it an Apache? And pray for a GS.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I have a picture. Maybe I'll share that picture.
Yeah.
But then that time I had gone from Rwanda to Arusha. I had gone for Kilimanjaro Marathon in Moshi. And so I go to Kikureto, the hot springs. I get there, I park my 200cc, but just before I park, these big boys arrive with big bikes. I think the smallest bike was 800cc.
Okay.
The 1250 and 1200cc bikes just parked next to mine. And I could just admire the bike. But I would say, now that I'm there, I think I like you said, the journey of starting small. Because I think there's some lessons that I'll not be able to learn if I started on a bigger bike. I think there's always this conversation, like, must you start on a small bike? I started on a 400cc, I started on a 600cc bike, and I'm still a good rider. But it's not most people that can do that. And I think there's those skills of just twisting the throttle of that 200cc bike to the maximum.
Yep.
And just being at 100 kilometers per hour for the whole day. It teaches you something else that basically when you have a bigger bike, you must understand. And actually the other thing is when it comes to, let's say, like overtaking. So if you have a bigger bike, you just twist your throttle
Ndio.
and just split of second you've already. So you tend to miscalculate how fast the other car is coming.
Yeah.
If you started on a bigger bike, but when you start on a smaller bike, you always know it will take forever to overtake. So you're a bit more cautious. So I think now taking those lessons when you start riding bigger bikes, it also makes you safer in some sense.
Okay. Tish?
Yeah, I think also starting with the smaller bike, small CC, progressing, though I will not wish to go back to small CC, no beef. There's this progression, also there is resilience. Also, it teaches you that patience, because with the small CC, you know what you're capable of. And it also give you that much of safety in a way, because you see that you can't overtake just abruptly like the way you're having a big bike. So with the progression also, it's a learning curve, because again, I usually say, we all, when you're riding, everyday ride or a journey, it's a new learning curve, because what you know yesterday, there's something new always that happening. When you're riding in groups, always you learn something new from how someone is riding. Yeah, so progression. I think that should be a hashtag, progression. Start from small CC, then progress. Yeah.
I think consistently we've been looking at, I think we can all agree that people are championing for that kind of lifestyle where you start and appreciate your journey from, zero, not zero, you can't have a 0cc bike, from 100cc going up. And by the way, I
200.
think we need to host another guy, Manzi.
Yeah.
He is a true representation of how. And now that's for another podcast. And I need us to move to the most interesting parts of this podcast, which is us speaking genuinely about things that happen in the biking society. So, number one, Ben, tell us your stories in East Africa. Let's start with where Ben forgot to tell you he's Kenyan. So, is it that obvious? So I need us, he needs to give us a complete story from in all, because this is an East African podcast and we really need to have all the bikers in the whole community. So he is going to tell us snippets of stories, is your riding journey in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda. I don't think you've been to Congo.
Yeah,
Not Burundi.
Burundi, yes.
So those all. Well, let's go. Each less than 2 minutes for each. But give us the highlights of every country that
Yeah.
you've been to.
Okay, I think I'll start with my home country, Kenya. So I learned to ride a motorcycle in Kenya. A friend of mine, big ups Karemi, I used his bike to learn. It was a 150cc bike. My experience riding in Kenya, I often travel to Kenya. So I'm in and out of the country. And whenever I'm there, of course, I'm riding a bike. I don't know. I think maybe eventually I can finish off with ranking the countries in terms of which is my favorite country to ride in.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, in Kenya, I think one of the challenges I experience most of the time is, first of all, the speed bumps. So there's so many unmarked speed bumps, especially when you use a new road. So it becomes almost impossible to ride, let's say, at a faster pace, or even worse, at night. The second thing is also now the drivers not taking care of, or let me just say the road users not taking good care of each other. You find someone in coming traffic when there's just basically nobody else on the road, and they push you off the road. Very common in Kenya. Going to Uganda, I've been to Uganda very many times. Mostly, I think I've toured the whole of Western Uganda and the Eastern Uganda. Passed there multiple times, including last weekend. So I know that.
Including last weekend, eh?
I think my nightmare is Kampala traffic in
Mukono.
Uganda. Just that's straight.
Nani will not be happy about it.
The traffic is unbelievable, you know.
Yeah.
But I think Uganda has generally good roads also, especially once you leave the city. You're able to quite ride fast and good road markings, wide roads and everything. Then in Rwanda, I've toured almost every inch of the country. I've gone on all the major corners and major towns of the country. Roads here, very, very nice roads. But again, we have the Sophias, the speed cameras. And so for most places, the speed limit is basically 60 to 80 kilometers per hour at maximum. And that's too low for a bigger bike.